Imagine this. Your husband dies. Not slowly. Not after illness. Just gone. And a few weeks later, you sit down at a table, open a laptop, and you start writing a children's book. About grief. About loss. About a father watching over his kids from heaven. You go on TV. You smile. You talk about healing. Now imagine, you're the reason he's dead. This isn't fiction. This is Kouri Richins. And out of all the cases I've covered, this is one I still can't shake. Kamas, Utah. Small town. Mountains all around. The kind of place where nights are quiet and people don't lock their doors. Kouri and Eric Richins lived there with their 3 boys. 5, 7, 9. If you drove past their house, nothing would stand out. It just looked normal. Inside, it probably felt normal too. Early mornings. Kids getting ready for school. Backpacks. Shoes by the door. Eric ran a business. From everything people said, he worked hard. But more than that, he showed up. The kind of dad who didn't just provide. He was there. And Kouri, she was busy too. Real estate, deals, properties. Always moving. Always chasing the next thing. From the outside, they looked like they had it figured out. But that's the thing about appearances. They don't make noise when they start to crack. Behind all of that, there was pressure. Debt piling up. A relationship on the side. A marriage that wasn't holding together the way it used to. And while most people, when they want out, they leave, Kouri didn't. She stayed. And quietly, something else started forming. March 4th, 2022. That night didn't start any differently than hundreds before it. The kids go to bed. The house settles. And in the kitchen, 2 drinks. Moscow mules. Cold metal mugs. Ice clinking softly. A slice of lime on the rim. Just the 2 of them, sitting there, talking about a real estate deal that had just gone through. Maybe it felt like a good night. Maybe, for Eric, it felt normal. That's the part one keep coming back to. Because if you knew what was coming, you wouldn't sit there like that. You wouldn't take that sip. Kouri later says she put the kids to bed and went to sleep in her youngest son's room. He'd been having nightmares. 6 hours pass. The house is quiet. She walks back down the hallway, step by step, opens the bedroom door, and Eric is lying there, still. No movement, no sound, just silence. The official cause of death would later come back as fentanyl overdose. But not a small amount. 5 times the lethal dose. In a man who didn't use drugs. Doesn't happen by accident. Doesn't just show up. Someone put it there. And the question that never really leaves is, what did that moment feel like for her? Was there panic? Or was it exactly what she expected to see? At first, it's treated as suspicious. But nothing immediate happens. And for over a year, life goes on. Kouri stays in the house. She collects life insurance. She continues her relationship. And then, she writes a book. Are You With Me? A father with angel wings watching over his son. She goes on a morning show, sits under studio lights, and talks about grief, about healing, about helping her children cope with losing their dad. That part, that performance, is harder to process than the crime itself. The break in the case doesn't come from some dramatic discovery. It comes from someone who was already inside that world. The housekeeper, Carmen Lauber. She tells investigators that Kouri had been asking her for drugs. Not casually, specifically. At one point, she asked for what she called the Michael Jackson stuff, propofol. When that wasn't available, she asked for something else. Eventually, Lauber says she sold her fentanyl. More than once. Early 2022. Now, on paper, Lauber isn't a perfect witness. Criminal history. Deals made with prosecutors. The defense leans into that hard. But then, the phone data comes in. Location pings. Dates. Movements that line up almost exactly with what Lauber described. And suddenly, it's not just words anymore. It's a pattern. Then there's the money. Multiple life insurance policies. Taken out quietly. Some without Eric even knowing. One of them, active just weeks before he died. And Kouri believed she was about to inherit millions. Money she needed. Badly. Because behind the scenes, things weren't stable. Debt, pressure, a future she wanted with someone else. And then there's a moment that changes everything about how you see this case. Valentine's Day, weeks before Eric dies, he eats food that had been left for him. Not long after, his body reacts. Fast, hives, swelling, panic. He grabs his son's EpiPen, injects it, drinks Benadryl, collapses, barely makes it through. At the time, it looks like a random allergic reaction. Unlucky, strange, but survivable. It wasn't random. It was the first attempt. He survived the first time. He didn't get a second chance. By the time the trial begins, the picture is already forming. Over nearly 2 weeks, jury hears it all. The drugs, the money, the timeline. The defense tries to shift it. Suggest maybe Eric had his own secrets. Maybe he was looking for something himself. But the weight of everything else, it doesn't move. Witness after witness, detail after detail. And then, Kouri makes a decision. She doesn't testify. She never looks at that jury and tells her side. The jury goes to deliberate. 3 hours. That's all it takes. 3 hours. After 13 days of testimony, they come back. Guilty. Every charge. Aggravated murder. Attempted murder. Fraud. All of it. And sometimes, you can tell what a jury believes by how quickly they decide. After the verdict, something else comes out. A message Kouri had sent. Angry, defiant, saying this wasn't over, that she would expose everyone. No regret, no reflection, just rage at being caught. But the part that stays with me isn't that. It's her kids. Her oldest son, just 13 years old, writes to the court. And in that letter, he says he wouldn't feel safe if his mother was ever released, that he's afraid of her. Think about that. A child asking a judge to keep his own mother in prison forever. Eric would have been 44. Instead, his birthday becomes the day his wife is sentenced for killing him. And those 3 boys, they don't just lose their dad. They lose the version of life where things feel safe, normal, predictable. That's gone. The book she wrote to help them heal is now part of a murder case. And somehow, that says everything. Sentencing is happening as this video goes live. Life without parole. That's what prosecutors are asking for. I want to know what you think. Was the evidence enough? Should she ever get a second chance? And one question I keep coming back to, did anyone around her suspect something and choose to stay quiet? Let me know. And if this story stayed with you, share it with someone who would feel the same. I'll see you in the next one.